What's up, NBA fans? Nic Rohloff of NBA Now here at Chat Sports, and we got a fun video for y'all today. ESPN released its first 2024 NBA mock draft, so we have to take a look and break it down, and there really is no introduction for their number one pick, Isaiah Collier, the point guard from USC. And as you see at the bottom of your screen, the order of the first round is about a week old. This is coming from ESPN, but the Spurs currently hold the number one pick, at least the high odds for that, and they take the point guard out of USC. Tall, lengthy, built like a truck. Him and Wemby would be fun down in San Antonio, I can't lie, but you have to wonder if the Spurs are going to continue this losing streak they're on. Will they end up with the number one pick? Who knows? If I had to make a pick for who finishes with that first pick in the draft, it's probably the Detroit Pistons, who has really struggled in this one. And ESPN has them taking Alex Sarr, the forward from Perth Wildcats. This guy is talented. He's lengthy. He can do it all. He's listed as a power forward center hybrid, but I think he can really do it all in the league. He's got a jumper. He's athletic. He can get to the rim. He can defend, and he's only 18, a young 18 as well. I think Alex Sarr will absolutely be in contention for that number one pick come next June. And speaking of that June, we will have the best NBA draft coverage on YouTube. There's no doubt in my mind. Myself lead some of this NBA draft content, but we have a full force team here at Chat Sports that is going to bring you the best NBA draft coverage you can possibly look for on YouTube. So hit that sub button if you want to be updated on anything NBA draft related from now until June. All right, keeping it going. I tell you what, this draft has some names, but I think I nailed this one. Zaccharie Risacher out of France, the forward, going to the Toronto Raptors with pick number 3. Excuse me, this is actually a mistype on my part. This is going to the Portland Blazers, P-O-R, not T-O-R. My guy, bad on that one, guys. But he's also a young forward, and he, another Frenchman coming into the league, has a chance to really do some nice things. I don't know if he's that high. There's a couple college guys I like over Risacher, but we shall see here as we move forward. Number 4, an intriguing one from Baylor, Jacoby Walter, a freshman. He's also pretty young. He has really led the Baylor Bears to an undefeated record early on in the college basketball season. Walter is a lengthy guard that I believe can play the 4 and 3 as well in the NBA, has a really smooth jumper in that catch and shoot area. I love Walter. Reminds me a lot of DeAndre Hunter, minus the defense, but the offensive game in college is similar. Number 5, going to the Charlotte Hornets, Ron Holland. And I got to be honest, I like Collier, I like Sarr, I like Jacoby Walter. But if I had to make my selection as we currently sit about who's going to be the number one pick and who's going to be the best player in this draft class, I think it's going to be Ron Holland, the forward who is playing in G League Ignite right now. I think he is going to be very talented, flashes two-way ability with finishing and a smooth jumper as well. I like Ron Holland. He reminds me a lot of Jimmy Butler, actually. I think he has a potential to be a star in the NBA, and like I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the number one pick come next June. But let me know, who is the best player in this NBA draft class? I think it's Ron Holland, but if you disagree with me, let me know. If you agree with me, you can also type that down in the comment section. Moving along into the Chicago Bulls with pick number 6, the 7'4" big man out of UConn, Donovan Clingan. He's a true sophomore. He's almost 20 years old already, but the guy flashes elite talent with that size. If he develops a jumper, I think that he goes in this range. The only question is, will he be able to be effective in the NBA defensively? Tall guys like that, you got to be able to move your feet. Clingan has athleticism. We'll have to see how he pans out. 7 to the Memphis Grizzlies, Matas Buzelis. And if you look at this name, you're like, oh, another European guy. He's in the G League Ignite, but this guy actually grew up in Chicago. I don't want to make too many comparisons in this video, but a lot of Franz Wagner's vibes out of Buzelis. I think he's going to be someone who definitely goes in this lottery. Another Nikola enters the league, and Nikola Topic, the point guard from Serbia. He can do it all. The question is the athleticism, but that was the same question with Luka Doncic as well, and well, that doesn't really matter as much. Topic, a point guard from Serbia that can really do it all. Number 9, Stephon Castle, the guard/forward out of UConn. Hasn't really got a lot of playing time thus far due to a knee injury, but just returned this past Tuesday against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Got some minutes off the bench. Expect Castle to play some meaningful minutes for the Huskies down the stretch. 10, the guard/forward out of Kentucky, Justin Edwards, heading to the San Antonio Spurs. That pick, the Spurs, is via Toronto, so they have 2 picks in the first round this year. Forward and a point guard, Collier, it looks like it's a good turnaround for the Spurs. Number 11, a Duke Blue Devil, Kyle Filipowski, a forward center hybrid that gives me a lot of Lauri Markkanen vibes if he can figure out his jumper. He hasn't really flashed it thus far, but the way he defends, the way he can play make and finish around the rim shows me a lot of things that Lauri Markkanen can do. Markkanen's a way better shooter, but like I mentioned, very similar build in height and length terms between Filipowski and Markkanen. Not usual to see a Colorado Buffalo go in the lottery, but Cody Williams is a forward that deserves to be in this talk. A true freshman, 18 years old, will be 19 come draft, but Cody Williams going to the Pacers in this ESPN mock draft with pick number 12. And speaking of the Indiana Pacers, they're taking on the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA In-Season Tournament Championship tomorrow evening in Las Vegas. Let us know who you got in this game. If you think it's going to be the Pacers, type IND. If you got LeBron and the Lakers taking home the first ever In-Season Tournament Championship, type LAL. By the way, how fitting would it be if LeBron won the first ever In-Season Tournament? It's almost like it's scripted. Moving on now, and it's Izan Almansa going to the Thunder. Would it shock anyone if Sam Presti takes a European big in this draft with all those draft picks? I don't think it would one bit. 14 to close out the lottery, Tyrese Proctor, the guard out of Duke. And this man is a very intriguing prospect, and I want to highlight him for a bit. Sophomore for the Blue Devils. He can really shoot the rock. But the question is his ball handling going to be able to translate to the next level? Already would be a good catch-and-shoot player in the NBA, but that's where the questions come in for Tyrese Proctor. 15 to the Hawks, DJ Wagner, the freshman from Kentucky, also very talented. He gives me a lot of Nick Smith Jr. vibes if you just look back from last year's NBA draft class. I think Wagner is more built. Nick Smith Jr. very lengthy and skinny. I think Wagner's a better player, but the way they score and get to their spots, a lot of similarities in those two games. Before we get into the second half of this video, got to give some big love to our sponsor on today's show, and that is Prize Picks, and they're offering one heck of a deal for y'all this holiday season. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for first deposit match up to $100. Just pick 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch the winnings roll in up to 25 times your money. You can play NBA. You can play NFL. I'm looking ahead to this Sunday Bears-Lions matchup. Intrigues me quite a bit. I like to do a little same game. You don't have to, but I prefer to. I'm taking the more than on Justin Fields passing yards. Him and DJ Moore hook up very well when they play on Sundays, so I'm taking his more on receiving yards. Taking the less than on Amon-Ra St. Brown receiving yards, and then the less than on his brother, EQ St. Brown, 10.5 receiving yards as well. You could take my picks, you could fade my picks, but make sure you do it at prizepicks.com/CLNS. It's daily fantasy sports made easy and fun. Join me, rapper Meek Mill, and comedian Andrew Schultz at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Moving on, another Frenchman, Tijane Saloon, going to the Knicks at 16. As you see, they have 2 picks in this first round, thanks to the Dallas Mavericks, who are coming in here in a bit. Saloon, another guy who can do it all, coming from France. Bobby Klitman to the Milwaukee Bucks at 17. And if the name sounds familiar, well, he went to Wake Forest last year, thought about going into the draft, but opted not to and go overseas instead, and then he'll go into the draft this year. I thought he was going to be a first-round pick last NBA draft, opted to go overseas for another year, and maybe it pays off for him going in the first round this year. Ryan Dunn, the forward from Virginia. And I tell you what, keep your eye on the Virginia Cavaliers this college basketball season. They also have a guard named Reese Beckman that I'm a big fan of. Dunn and Beckman could lead Virginia to an ACC title this season. Keep your eye out over there. Osa Ighodaro, the forward/center from the Marquette Golden Eagles, going to the Trailblazers at 19. I'm a big fan of Ighodaro. The question is, how will he develop in the league? He might be the most athletic player in this entire list of players you will see today. But the question is, where can he fit? Because he doesn't have a jumper. He's only 6'9", so can he defend centers in the NBA? It's a big question mark, but the Blazers scoop him up here. 20th, Robert Dillingham to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They might lose Donovan Mitchell this offseason, so it would probably make sense to replace him with a scoring guard. Dillingham is certainly one from Kentucky. Kentucky guards, how can you go wrong? Jared McCain, number 21, going to the Atlanta Hawks. He's a 5-star for Duke. If you know the name, you might recognize him from TikTok. Very popular over there. Khalil Ware, the center from Indiana, the transfer from Oregon, going number 22 to the Houston Rockets. He is an elite rim protector, athletic, can really shot block. He is going to be someone that intrigues me. And listen, the Rockets have Alfred Sengun at center, but it could benefit them to get a real rim protecting big. Number 23, the Miami Heat, Kevin McCullough Jr. And I find this pick intriguing by ESPN. Why? Well, McCullough's a older prospect, 22.7 years of age, would be 23 by draft time comes around. But McCullough, a 4-year college player, reminds me a lot of the pick the Heat just made in Jaime Jaquez Jr. It's worked out for Miami thus far, but the question remains, would they go back-to-back years with taking a 4-year player from college that is a forward that does the same thing? It's very intriguing. Tyler Smith. Not our Tyler Smith who works here at Chat Sports. No, the overtime elite forward going to the Phoenix Suns at 24. We haven't seen an overtime elite player really come in yet outside of Sarr and Amen Thompson from last year. Sarr's been good. Amen really hasn't found his footing yet. We'll see if overtime elite players can do some good inside the NBA. An intriguing prospect going to Indiana at 25. Reed Sheppard, the freshman guard at Kentucky. This kid can absolutely shoot the rock. I am a big-time fan of Reed Sheppard. The question will be, how will he defend? Gives me a lot of Brandon Podziemski vibes from last year's NBA draft class. A undersized guard that questionable defensive abilities, but absolutely can shoot the rock. To the Denver Nuggets at number 26, Trayvon Brazile, the forward from Arkansas, athletic, lengthy, can get to the rim. Big fan of Brazile's game. I wouldn't be surprised if he rises close to the lottery after this college basketball season. 27, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Juan Nunez, the guard from Spain. The Timberwolves are an interesting spot. They obviously have that elite front court. They have Anthony Edwards. Mike Conley's getting up there in age. Maybe Juan Nunez can be the point guard of the future. 28 to the Milwaukee Bucks. Ade Mara, the center/forward out of UCLA. He can do it all. Good playmaking as a big man, can rim protect as well. UCLA has a couple good big men as also having a Deb Bona. I like UCLA's front court this season. Keep an eye on Mara. 29th, Baba Miller, the forward out of Florida State. The Seminoles have really struggled this season and over the past couple years, but Miller has NBA talent, no doubt about it. Fringe first-round guy. We'll see how he pans out. And to end this mock draft from ESPN, the 76ers take Yves Missi, the center from Baylor. And I tell you what, if you flip on the channel to watch the Baylor Bears, Jacoby Walters will stand out, who went number 4 in this mock draft. But number 30, Missi, will absolutely stand out the page. He will fly in for athletic slam dunks in the lob area, will also swat you into the third row. This guy flashes elite athleticism. But the problem is he doesn't have a high ceiling, not a really good offensive game outside of dunks and blocks. You wonder what his ceiling could be. Clint Capella comes to mind. That is the first NBA mock draft from ESPN. leading up to this 2024 NBA draft in June. Grade it for me, A, B, C, D, or F. It's early. It's hard to really put these guys in the categories, especially when you don't know who's going to be picking where with so early in the season. I graded a B-, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And also follow me on Twitter and Chat Sports at Twitter, at Chat Sports. You can follow me at Nic_Rohloff. I'm talking hoops on a daily basis. So if you want more interactive NBA talk, and when it comes to the NBA draft, I love scouting. I tweet about it all the time. Follow me over there if you want more NBA draft analysis as well. I'll see you on the next video, Hoophead fans. Peace out.